Alright, so having left off on our character that we got up and running in here in the Maya application, where we got our materials applied and we have her scaled to the size that she needs to be, which is in Maya units is very large, but in real Unreal Engine runs in different units than Maya does. So this is going to happen with some of the characters, I guess, depending on your project. For our particular project, because it's a third-person shooter, this is going to be about the right size for what we need her as. Granted, we can go ahead and start running her through the art kit. And what I wanted to go through first was what are like some of the main differences, what are the biggest things you might be able to consider between using the art kit that Unreal provides and also just having your own custom rig setup. Well, I have the original rig that was set up for this character. This character here I ended up pulling the geometry off of. Right away you can see I was trying to navigate there and it was going left and right. Because when this rig was created, it originally was built in the Y up axis instead of like what we have for our character, which was the Z up axis with negative Y direction. But going back to this character here, if you're doing your own custom rigs, like you have pretty much whatever freedom you want. Really, you're not limited by whatever the art kit's going to give you. The art kit is powerful in and of itself. There are some limitations to it. Like right now, like for instance, in the art kit, from what I have experienced so far, like I haven't been able to get as many facial bones and controls going on in the head as you could if you did your own custom rig. You can do more probably creatures that had more than 4 legs and bipedals, and also too you can also have your morph targets and blend targets also placed on the same scene. That's what you can get out of doing your own custom rigs. That would be for a different day. I'm not going to do that, but I mean that's your pros and cons for having it, for having custom rig versus the art kit. The art kit I found is just a little bit more, I think, user friendly to me. If you're not per se, like if you don't know the ins and outs of workings of just doing your own custom rig from the ground up, building all your bones from scratch and everything like that, the art kit will cover most of that for you. But still, it does not hurt to at least try to do this on your own before you go through the art kit, so you have a better understanding of how rigs work, joints, IK, FK controls, and everything else, how all that stuff ties together. So if something comes up in the art kit, you know where to look. But well, let's go ahead and we'll get her going now, because I'm assuming that's why you're here. So we got our character ready to go. She's scaled up and everything. So in your Epic Games tab on the main menu, when you drop this down, you want to go ahead and go to Character Rig Creator. From here, it's going to pull up your window. I'm going to just pull this off so I can move it around freely, and because my screen is just a little bit wonky. And from here we can go ahead and begin setting up our bones for this character. This is defining, okay, what bones do you want, how many do you need. For this character, I'm building it based on being in the engine. So she's going to be running real time, there's going to be particles going, there's going to be enemy AI coming at her, since she's a fighter character, and there's going to be a lot of things going on the screen. So I mean, I'm going to try to aim for maybe less bones might help out the scenes, because she might be working with half a dozen characters, I'm not sure. So in general setup, most characters do have one neck bone. Anytime you do change anything, this is going to change color to let you know that you have derived away from the default value settings in this art kit. It's nothing serious, it's nothing bad or anything, but it's just letting you know. For the arm kit, for the arms, I'm not doing any twist bones because it's just not really needed for what I'm doing on this character. Even so, if I had to do twist bones on this character, even in the legs, which I'm not going to add any either, you can easily go back through and change these out later on. But if you can get everything right and know ahead of time what you are going to need for your character, that's all the better, and that'll avoid the necessity of running into troubles and other issues later on down the road in the pipeline. because I want the same thing on the other arm, I'll just go ahead and do the same as left arm when you drop this tab down. Let me go ahead and minimize these so I have some more room. They're going to drop down the leg options, and we're going to go ahead and do leg style. I don't need any twists, just like the arms. You can include ball joint, which I'm not doing. I'll go ahead on left leg, right leg, and go ahead and I will do the same as the left leg. Now, adding rig modules, these are extra attributes that pretty much define, like, okay, joint chains, we could add some joint chains on the skirt for either dynamically driven, or we can hand animate all those. Leaf joints would be, these are bones that you can place wherever. So I mean, granted, leaf bones could, in essence, if there was enough time permitted, I could probably try to throw leaf bones on every single one of the on the face controls, much like this rig is done. But the only thing is on leaf joints, I don't think there's a way to have all these connected. If I could, I would try to drag these bones here to show you. Oh, let me turn on the. If you want to see your bones through the model, just go into shading and X-ray joints, and from there you'll be able to see all your bones through the model. But on this character, as you can see, like all these bones are connected to the head joint, and these joints are connected through a chain. Leaf joints, because you have a little bit more flexibility to place them where you want, you could make these all chain joints and everything like that, but because I'm making this a game character for in real time, I'm not going to be focused too much on doing a lot of the facial controls. I will, however, I could maybe add a jaw later on. If I could add more joints, I will try to add them to the face so I can get her blinking and possibly get her eyebrows up and down. And you can accomplish that too, even with morph targets and blend shapes for your lower bone count characters for in-game scenes. I mean, like games like Rise, other like high-end games that on modern machines, they do still use blend shapes and morph targets. So I'm going to add one leaf joint, and I'm going to go ahead and it'll pull up the settings for where you want this joint name to be. I'm going to call it jaw, so I have one jaw control, and I want to attach that to the head wherever it is in this list of all my joints it's giving me. So I want one, attach it to the head. I'm going to leave these as default, so okay. And now we have one leaf joint that's named jaw, and we are going to place that once we start building up our bones and placing our skeleton where it needs to go. One jiggle joint I will use. I'm going to place this for the hood, and a hood I believe is going to be attached to the spine 3. It goes from bottom up, so it'll be like spine 1, spine 2, and then spine 3 will be your highest, depending on how many spine bones you add to your character. So spine 3 will be her upper back area. I'm going to name this one hood. And for our skirt, we're going to need to make about 4 of these, and I'm going to name each one front and back for left and right sides. So for the first chain, I want to go ahead and do skirt. Let's see, left. Oops. I'm just going to do L for the suffixes, so left and front. Let me go ahead and copy this, so that way I'm not having to retype all that. And number of joints, I want about 4, because I'm going to do 1 in the pelvis, 2 in the middle, and then 1 for the end. And I want to connect this to the pelvis. Okay, let's make another one. Paste that. Call this one rear. 4 leaf joints, or sorry, 4 joint chains, root, and connect to the pelvis. Do another one, paste. And I want to change this left to right, and let's put this one as front, just like we did with the left side. Copy this, and we do 4, pelvis, and our last one, and we're going to name that to rear. 4 and pelvis. Alright, so now we have all of our skull placement completed. Now if we had other characters that were going to per se use this exact settings, we had like other female characters that came along, or she had a different costume or a different character skin, but it had like a skirt as well with a hoodie and whatnot, we could easily save out all these settings that we did instead of having to re-enter all these attributes. This button here is where you can load and save your templates. So we're going to go ahead and we'll save this template out. I was testing this out earlier, so there's already a text file made. It's all it is too, is a text file. So you can name it whatever you want. It will automatically save it, and according to where you set up your Maya files for your ArtKit, it's going to be, this is where it's going to save out your settings for your templates. So we'll just go ahead and save the Alicia one. Yes, I want to overwrite because it's the same thing, and your template has been saved. So if per se, like right now, if your system crashed, you could easily just go back in here, open up the art rigging toolkit, and your skeleton placement when you're making this, just open up, load your template, and it'll set everything right back to where it needs to go. So we'll go ahead and we are gonna go ahead go ahead and make our skeleton. And yes, I want to build these chosen parameters. It's gonna do a little bit of a rescale, and it's gonna automatically it'll place a proxy mesh in here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'll stop the video for here, and that was the skeleton setup for that video. Next we'll go ahead and we're gonna delve into getting all the skeleton joints placed where they need to go for the Alicia character.